Booker.
Chris put that ball back on his waist and could not finish.
Could that be a Jackson Four? What is that?
Come on now. Out of here. Ingles has to hold back Marquise Chris. Cheap shot after cheap shot.
Hi guys, Sam here and welcome to the timeline of Phoenix Suns channel. It's time for the fourth video in our series on free agent point guards. Let's break down Spanish basketball sensation by day and suspected vampire by night, Ricky Rubio. If you haven't been keeping up with Ricky Rubio over his past couple of years in Utah, the first thing you may notice is that his assist numbers have plummeted from being a 9 assists per game guy in Minnesota to just a 5 or 6 assists per game guy now. Now, does that mean Rubio is no longer as good at running an offense, that he's lost a step or two when it comes to playmaking? The answer there is absolutely not. Rubio is as flashy as ever, but this is a classic case of a changing coaching system affecting what you see in the box score. You see, in Rubio's final season in Minnesota, he was coached by Tom Thibodeau. Not only was Rubio allowed to create flashy passes to athletic wings in transition, when it came to the half-court offense, the majority of possessions were starting at the top of the key, being initiated by screens set there. Wing players like Zach LaVine and Andrew Wiggins were not yet given a ton of ball-handling responsibilities. Contrast that to Quinn Snyder's offense in Utah, where the goal is to have 2 or 3 competent pick-and-roll creators on the floor at all times. This allows Utah to create a ton of offense out of the wing on side pick-and-rolls and dribble handoffs near the elbow. So instead of all of the assists going to Rubio, you see a lot from Donovan Mitchell and Joe Ingles as well. Note that this is exactly what Igor Kokoskov was trying to accomplish in Phoenix this season, and it's a system that allows no one player to hog the ball for long periods of time. But make no mistake, Rubio's greatest asset to this team instantly would be his playmaking. His assist-to-turnover ratio of 2.3 may not jump off the page like a guy like Tyus Jones, who we've already covered. But the difference between those two players is that Rubio has shown an increased willingness to truly make himself a scoring threat since arriving in Utah. When Ricky was in Minnesota, he frankly was not taken seriously as an offensive player. His finishing numbers were an absolute joke, as was his jump shot, and it quite honestly threatened his future in the NBA. After working on it for many years, we've finally arrived at a point where Rubio is, at the very least, not a liability as a scorer. His 58% finishing at the rim this past season was by far a career high, and is honestly pretty good compared to other NBA point guards. He's also shot 45% on mid-range jumpers 3 seasons in a row, another sign that defenses need to respect him. As you likely know, however, the 3-point shot remains the final hurdle that he can't quite seem to get over. Rubio shot just 33% on catch-and-shoot threes this season, making him definitely the worst catch-and-shoot point guard we're going to look at as part of this series, and he shot 31% on threes overall. What's even more concerning here is that a whopping 79% of his attempts are coming wide open, with the defender at least 6 feet away. For comparison, 65% of Beverly's threes were deemed wide open, and only 59% of Collison's threes were that open. This isn't a product of the Jazz offense producing such amazing looks, but rather evidence that opposing defenses still don't respect Rubio's outside shot, and he hasn't been able to make them pay for it. This is a huge red flag in trying to analyze his potential fit in Phoenix, a team that desperately needs outside shooting. Alright, now let's move on to defense. No, not this. This is obviously bullshit. Rubio is definitely an above-average defender, and while he's no Patrick Beverley, the best thing he's got going for him is a great set of hands. He's yet another point guard who plays the passing lanes well, but more importantly, he knows when to keep his hands up versus when to go poking from behind. With a 6'9" wingspan, he's one of the most capable candidates to hide Devin Booker on defense and try to contain the opposing team's best guard with his length. He's also surprisingly strong for a guard, and does a really good job of not backing down in the post. But if we have to talk about weaknesses on this end, Rubio's side-to-side speed has never been the best. You can see, for example, in this clip on D'Angelo Russell, the effort and defensive stance to stop the ball in transition is there, but then it's just a little bit too easy for D'Lo to slide by, because Rubio doesn't have the quickest feet. Other quick guards like De'Aaron Fox, Russell Westbrook, and Kemba Walker give Rubio similar trouble in transition. Part of this could be attributed to Rubio feeling more daring on the perimeter, because he knows Gobert is there to back him up. But if that is the case, he would probably have to be more conservative in Phoenix with less rim protection. Overall here, Rubio is definitely a guy we can project as a plus defender for at least a little while longer in his career. I noted how he struggled with the first steps of guards like Westbrook and D'Lo, but he also held both of those guys to under 30% shooting this season, so clearly he's doing something right. Rubio is yet another stopgap option for the Suns, and I'm pretty confident that his combination of playmaking, defense, and just a little bit of scoring could help bring the Suns back to a low playoff seed within a couple of years. But if you want the Suns to get beyond that, we have to consider the reasons why Utah is letting Rubio go in the first place. When it came to playoff time, a trio of Rubio, Mitchell, and Gobert just didn't have the required spacing to really make Utah a serious threat offensively. It's hard to envision Rubio working out much better with Booker and Ayton if the spacing would struggle that much. I wouldn't consider Rubio to be much of an upgrade over either Collison or Beverly, but something tells me that he might have different feelings about that. If he asks for something in the 12 to 15 million range, the Suns should definitely look for cheaper options. But if you can get him closer to that 10 million a year sweet spot, I think he's a fantastic option compared to the other guys we've looked at so far. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, guys, make sure to subscribe and follow us on Twitter at @TheTimelinePod. More to come soon.